Alright, so this is basically the final part of our messenger clone, and I want us to quickly work on the real-time application of our messenger clone, right? And like I said before, we are going to be using pusher to handle this. So the first thing we want to do is we want to quickly go into our terminal and then install a couple of packages, and the packages are going to be npm I, then we have pusher, then we have pusher.js like this, and then we can now pass in the last one, which is lodash, just like this. Alright, so that is what we need. Okay, yeah, I forgot, we need to make sure that we pass in the legacy peer depths so that we do not face any dependency errors whilst trying to install. Right, so right after we are done running this command, the next thing we want to do is we can go into pusher, but I'm assuming that you have to now type in pusher, so you can just hit pusher like this. You can see something like pusher NextJS, something like this, and you should see it over here, right? You can or you can just say pusher.js or something, and you should see it come right here, right? And then you can just click on it, like click on the main icon here, and you can just sign up. And then signing up, I did sign up with Google, right? I did sign up with Google, so let me just sign in with Google like this. And right after we are here, you can see that I have an already created messenger clone application here. If you want to create another one, I don't know, I've not seen the one that allows us to create. Okay, so it's here, the button is here, so we can just click create app, and you can write the name. You can say messenger clone video, messenger clone, so messenger clone video or something. Then you can basically just leave it here, or you can select any other one, right? You can basically select any other one or leave it there, doesn't matter like that. And yeah, for the front end you want to select React, and then for the back end you want to select Node.js, just like this, and then you click on create app. Alright, I don't know, I don't want to recreate the app anymore. So yeah, so once you create the app, right, what you want to do is you want to click on this app right here, and then inside you want to come into the app keys here, and then this app key. So let me quickly bring this to the side again, and then we'll go into our env file right here, and what we are going to do is you're going to have to set our variable names, right? So let me quickly bring this to the side, and we have next public, then we have what, pusher key, next public pusher key, just like this. So next public pusher app key, just like this, you can see right here. And then for the app key, what we need to do is we'll come here, and then we'll come and copy this key right here, and then we'll come and place it here, nice and clean, right, like this. Then right after that we want to come down here, and then we want to come and write something like pusher app id, like this, right? And then for the pusher app id, we just come and copy this one right here, and then we'll come and paste it right here, just like this. Then over here we have what, the pusher secret, just like that. So pusher secrets, just like this, and then we can simply pass in this secret that we have right here. We can pass in this secret that we have right here. Alright, nice and clean. So now that we have been able to pass in all the materials that we need, or all the things that we need, what we are going to do is, let me quickly collapse this. Then we'll go into we want to quickly go into our app right here. Then we'll go into the libs. Then we'll come, so inside this libs here, we want to create a new file called pusher.ts, like this. So pusher.ts, just like this. Then inside our pusher.ts, what we are going to do is we're going to import pusher server. So pusher server, pusher server. So from what? From pusher, nice and clean, just like this. Then over here we are going to quickly import what? Our pusher client. So import pusher, import pusher client, just like this, from what? From pusher.js, of which we just installed down here, right? Then right after that, we want to quickly come down and then export const. So we want to export our configuration right here. So say export const pusher server, then we'll come and create new pusher server, just like this. Then inside we will pass in our app ID, just like that. And then we are going to be taking the app ID from where? process.env.pusher app ID. That is, if you look at this env right here, you can see pusher app ID right here. You can just come down here and then come and paste it, just like that. And then look at this one, the next public pusher app key right here. You just come and copy this one right here, and you just have to come back here and then paste it right here. And then you have the secret right here. So just like that, you just come back and then come and copy the secret, and you put it back in there, just like that. You set your cluster to the cluster that was assigned to you over here. So you can see empty1, and then you set the use_tls to true. Then once we are done with that, we want to come down here, and then we want to export const our pusher client, just like this. So you can see this is our pusher client that we created here. We say new pusher client. We take this pusher client, create a new pusher client object here, and then inside we pass in the first key as the first argument. We pass in the app key as the first argument, and then the second argument is going to be an object, and then we have the channel authorization and the endpoint set here, right? So this particular endpoint that we've been able to set up right here, what we are going to do is, let me quickly collapse everything, and then I'm going to come inside here, create a new file called pages right here, like this. And then inside the pages, I'm going to create an API folder. Then inside this API folder, we'll create what? Another folder called pusher, and inside we'll create a file called auth.ts. So auth.ts, just like this. Alright, so yeah, the reason why I used the autocomplete for the previous one was because it was pretty much like a common practice. So I didn't want us to waste too much time doing it, right? So you can just look at it and then make sure that everything is intact, and then we can quickly move forward. All right, so inside our auth.ts, this is one of the things that is going to allow us to do like quite a number of things, and most especially when we are trying to check for the active users. All right, so now that we understand how this is going to help us, let us quickly do our export default. And then export default is going to be an asynchronous function, just like this, and we are going to make sure that the name is handler. So handler, like this. Then we will set it to request, just like that. And then we set the type to be what? Next API request, and then we set the response to next API response. Just make sure that you import both of these bad boys right here. You can see we just imported both of them right here. So there's no need to re-import and re-import. Just make sure that they are coming out of the same place, just like this. Alright, so now that we have been able to do import both of these bad boys here, what we are going to do is inside these curly braces, we are first of all going to have to get the session. So we'll say what session, okay, session is equal to what await get server session from next auth, and then we are going to be passing in what the request, response, and then the auth options. The auth options is what we are going to be importing from our app slash app slash API slash auth, and then the next auth slash route, right? Just like how we have it. And then we are quickly going to come down and then check. So we are going to come down and check for the session.user.email. Then inside, in case there is none, we just pass in. So in case there is none, we just make sure that we pass in what the response that status .401, right? That means that we are unauthorized. Okay, so right after we are done with that, let's make sure that we are taking the socket ID. So let's take in the socket ID just like that from the request.body.socket ID, just like this, and then we take the channel. So we take the channel from the request.body dot channel name, just like that, and we pass in the data, and we are going to simply complete it. I don't know, this is going to make us move very fast, okay, but yes, some might be confused, so I'll just explain. So this is the data that we are going to be passing in. We want to check for the user ID, and then we are going to be using unique emails for the user ID right here, right? So and then once we come here, we want to set the auth response to be what's the pusher server.authorized channel that we set up inside our pusher.ts here, and then we want to pass in the socket ID, the channel data, and basically return the auth response just like this right here, right? So that is it, fast and easy. So make sure that you have all these all set up fast, nice and clean. Then once you're done with that, what we quickly want to move on to is I want us to quickly set up the server triggers, because once you're working with real time, you want to make sure that you're setting up this opening at the server and then the other end opening in the client, right? So we want to start with the opening that has to be triggered from the server. So let's quickly do that by going into the API here. Then we'll go into the conversations. So when we go into application here, we want to make sure that inside the conversations that we have, let me quickly scroll up right here. We want to make sure that once we send like a new message, or once we update the conversations, or once we send messages inside, whether it's a group or another person, we want to make sure that we can see the updates in real time over here like that, right? So in order for us to be able to work on this, let's trigger it from the server. We have this group. Let's make sure that inside the if it's group here, we want to come right in between this return and this one right here. Then we want to say what new conversation dot users dot for each user right here. Then we want to quickly come and check if user dot email, right? So if user dot email exists, we want to do what pusher server dot trigger. Make sure you import your pusher server like this. It should be imported on top right here, right? Then let's come down. So you have what? So if email dot if user.email exists, the pusher server dot trigger user email, then you have the conversation new, then the conversation. So this is the channel that you're going to be triggering with the user.email, and then you're going to be checking for this text ID here, right? And then you now pass in this new conversation, right? So we are going to have to receive this from the client side. Then right after we are done triggering just like that, we want to come right below at the very end right here, and then we want to come and then trigger from here too as well. So new conversation dot users, I want to quickly type things out so that people don't get confused. So dot map, oh yeah, so map, then you have what this user right here, then you want to come and check. So you say what if user.email exists, right? What do you want to do? You want to come and do that pusher server trigger right here. You can see, so here like that, that's the same thing that we did set up before, and then we just quickly close it out just like that. So it's basically very similar to the one that we had above right here for the is group. All right, so now that we have been able to set it up like that, what we want to quickly do is we want to go into the this one, which is we want to go into the conversation ID route right here, and we want to set up this functionality that allows us to delete a conversation, right? So we want to be able to trigger the deletion of a conversation over here. So you can see that we want to make sure that once we delete a conversation, the conversation deletes in real time on the left side, just like that. All right, so I'll just click on this tab right here. You can see, so you can see this delete button here. We want to trigger that functionality from the server side. So what we are going to do is I'll just scroll to this side right here, right at the bottom here, between the deleted conversation and then the next response right here. Then we want to take existing conversation, just like this existing conversation. Then we take the users dot for each user, just like that. Then we want to check if the user email exists, and if it exists, you make sure that you trigger the user.email, and then what this text ID like this. So conversation remove, and then you pass in the existing conversation right here. So we want to show it in real time. All right, so this is how it is. Don't forget to always import your pusher server just like that from above right here. All right, now that we have been able to set that up, we want to quickly move on and then set up this scene right here. So you can see the scene by nice user right here. We want to make sure that we set this up in real time. So when we have two chats, all right, when we have two chats whereby one user is here and the other user is here, or like, you know, two different places in real time, right? We want to make sure that when the other user comes to see the message, it just marks in real time that, oh, the user has actually seen it, right? So in order for us to be able to work on that, we just entered this scene routes.ts right here, and what we want to quickly do is okay, I don't think yeah, so this is where we did set up the normal one, and then we so we enter this folder right here, and then with the route.ts right here. Then inside this route.ts, we want to come to the very last button, which is right between this one and this one. Then we want to say what await what pusher server.trigger. So we await the pusher server.trigger. Don't forget to always import your pusher server above. Then once we trigger, we use the current user.email as a unique channel. Then we set up what the conversation :update as the text ID here, and we just pass in the objects that we need, which is what for ID we want to pass in the conversation ID, right? And then for the message, we want to pass in the updated message as an array right here. Don't forget to import your pusher server above, just like this. All right, so now that you are done with that, we are not complete. What we have to do is you're going to have to come right below here, and I want to check for a few things. So we want to say what if the last message dot scene IDs right here dot index of the current user dot ID is not equal to -1 right here. Then what we want to do is we want to return a next response. So we want to return a next response of updated message. I want us to take it step by step. So a next response of updated message right here. Then the next thing is we are going to come right below and then I'm going to await pusher server dot trigger, and then we want to check for the conversation ID just like this. Then we want to say that we want to pass in this text ID as messages.update, and then we send in this updated message, and then this should allow us to set up the scene by functionality inside application in real time, just like that. So right after doing that, we want to quickly go into the messages, right? So let's quickly close or collapse the conversations, then we'll go into the messages and then the route.ts inside the messages. Now for this, we want to make sure that when we send a message, we can see the message appear here in real time. So when you send a new message, you want to see it appear, right? So in order for us to be able to work on that, let's quickly come to the very last end here. So in between this one and this return next response.json new message here, so in between that, we just come and say what, await pusher server. So await pusher server dot trigger, and then we have what, let's make sure we import our pusher server from above just like this. Let me make sure it's that one. Okay, yes, it's the right one. So now that we have imported our pusher server, you make sure that you set up what, you say pusher server dot trigger, then you trigger using the conversation ID as a unique channel, and then we set the text ID here that we used to recognize it as the message color new here, and then we pass in the new message as the item that we are trying to manipulate, right, or the item that we are trying to use in real time, right? Then right after that, we want to come and check for the last message. So we say what, const, so we say const last message right here is equal to what, we want to check. So we say updated conversation. So we take the updated conversation dot messages, then we open up this square bracket, then inside the square bracket you write what's updated conversation dot messages dot length minus 1, just like that. Then we have to come right below here, we want to come right below here, and then we say what, updated conversation, so updated conversation dot users dot map, right? Then we take each user inside, then we say what, check for, so we say the pusher dot server, so the pusher server dot trigger, then we use the user email as a unique channel, then we basically update the conversation using this, and we just pass in the objects that we need, just like this, like the one that we did for the on the other time on the other file, right? So right after we are done triggering that, what we want to do is we now want to come into the client and then work on it in real time. So the first place that we want to go is we want to go into the body, right? We want to quickly set up the functionality for showing the new message right here. So let's go into body.tsx just like this, and we'll go into this use effect right here. So inside this use effect that we have here, right, inside this use effect, what we are going to do is we are going to come right below it, right, and then we'll create another use effect. So use effect just like that. Then inside this use effect, let me quickly close it up, just like that. Okay, nice and clean. Then inside we already have, so we just make sure that the conversation ID is a dependency just like that. Then inside, what we are going to do is we first of all want to take the pusher client just like this, and then we want to subscribe, right? So we want to subscribe to the conversation ID just like this, and then we want to basically make sure that once the new message appears here, we want to scroll, we want to make sure that we scroll. So let's say we have this user texting, this user texting, this user texting, and it's a string of text like that. We want to make sure that once it gets to this point and we send a new message, it just automatically scrolls into view, right? So we just set the bottom ref dot current and scroll into view just like that. Then we come here and then we say const what, message handler. So we'll say message handler, and then we set that to be a parameter of message, and then we set that to be the full message type, just like that. Let me quickly close this up, just like this. Then inside we are going to be writing a couple of things. All right, so what we need is, you see this this API that we set over here. What we are going to do is we're just going to copy that, and then we are going to just paste it like this, because we want to make sure that at the end of the day we have seen our messages. We are basically working on everything together, right? So yeah, let's just finish it. So now that we have that working out for us, what we want to quickly do is we want to come down here and then set messages, right? We want to set messages, and then inside this set message that we have here, we want to check for a few things. So we'll say if find, so if find, just like this, and then the find, we are going to be getting it from lodash. All right, so find, we're going to be getting find from lodash, just like this. I want to import that. Okay, I guess lodash is not showing it inside the snippet, so we have to actually import it like this. So find from lodash. Okay, it says it can't be found. Okay, yeah, we have to import the types for lodash. I forgot. So let's paste that, and then we'll do our legacy peer depths, just like that. All right, and so it's important, just like that. So once it's done, it will just work out, right? So we see if find right here, then we want to take in our previous message, right? So the set message here, we make sure that this is our previous messages, just like this. So previous message, just like that. Then we want to say that what so previous messages. Then we want to take the ID object of that mess of the new message, right? So new message, just like this, new message dot ID, just like that. Okay, the ID, just like that. And what we are going to do is, what we are quickly going to do is, we want to come and then return what a new message, just like this. Return new message, just like this. All right, so it looks like we're having quite some issues over here. So I think for this one, what we need to quickly do is we need to close it up, just like that. And this one has to be what prev messages. So I'll just copy that and put that in here, just like that. I don't know why it's always trying to autocomplete for us, but this is basically what we are trying to do, right? So we are trying to basically say if we find the previous messages, that is the messages that already exist inside the chat, we want to assign a new message, the ID to it, like this. So message.id to it like this. Then we want to return our previous messages, and then we want to, if there is no situation like this, then we want to return our previous messages including the new message, just like that. Now once we have been able to set that up, yeah, cut this out, we don't need that one. So once we've been able to set that out, oh yeah, I think we do need that one. Yeah, we do need it. So once we be able to set that out, this one out, so what we want to do is we want to set up the updated conversations. So updated updated message handler, just like that. We set it like this. Then what we want to do is, inside this updated message handler right here, we want to set messages. So set messages to be what prev messages, just like this, and then prev messages is going to be what prev messages dot map prev message dot id, just like that. And sorry, prev message, just like this. So we want to map it like this. So we have set messages to be what previous messages, like this. Then we want to return we don't want to return it like this, to be honest. What we want to do is, I'll just cut this one out, and then we have to write an if statement, because that one is more efficient and easier to understand. So once we have this if right here, what we want to do is we want to take this previous message that we have right here and dot id. All right, then we want to check if it is equal to what the new message dot id, like this. Okay, so if it's equal to that new message that we have, what we want to quickly do is we want to return this new message like this. All right, okay, so yeah, so basically you might be asking yourself that where are we getting all these new messages from? Now that is because when we create this set message using the previous message parameter, what we are going to do is we need to basically take this previous messages right here and then map through. So we'll just map through like this. All right, then we take the previous message just like this, take the previous message just like that, and then we'll create a new function inside. And then once we are done, what we'll do is just cut this and then come and put it outside here, so it fits inside just like that. Then we take each previous message or id and then try to equate it. So yeah, so basically this message that we have here, let's make it a new message so we understand what is going on right here. All right, okay, so new message right here, let's cut that one too out. Okay, so let me quickly explain what we just did so that we don't get confused, because I realized it looked a little clumsy while we were working on it, right? So what we are basically doing here is we have created a use effect here, and then we've created two functions, and each function basically takes in a message parameter, right? And then this message, once we are able to take this message, we want to make sure that we first of all say that, oh yes, we've seen the message, right? Then once we're able to finish doing that, we want to take this set messages state that we have so we can update it in real time inside the chat, like that. So once you take the set message, we want to basically take the previous messages that we already have inside the chat, and then we want to find previous messages in the chat. I want to make sure that if previous messages are already in the chat and there have been no chat sent, we want to send only the previous messages. But if there are already previous messages in the chat and we send a new message, we want to make sure that we replace the messages inside the chat with a new message as well. So that is what we are talking about here. And let's make sure that we scroll down into view in case there's a new addition into the chat that requires us to scroll. All right, then we now have this updated message handler here that takes in a new message too as well. And then while trying to set the messages array that we have in the use state above, what we are going to do is we're going to take all the previous messages, we map through them, and then check if the previous message id is equal to the new message that we are trying to send. We just return only the new message. But if it's not, then we make sure that we return what the previous message, so that our chat still stays the same without any duplicates. All right, so right after we are done setting that up, what we quickly want to do is we want to come and then make sure that we set our pusher client dot bind to go through this channel. So messages new, and then we set it to the message handler right here, and then let's set it up for our message update. So we have pusher, client, just like this, dot what bind, just like that, and then we set it to be what our message update, and then we now passing what our updated message and handler right here. So remember that inside the server we did set up certain triggers, and then we use these text IDs to represent them, right? So these are basically like some kind of channels that you want to use to identify on the client so that you can receive the right data at the right time. All right, so now that we have been able to do that, we want to make sure that we do not overload our memory, so or cause any memory leaks. So with that, we're going to do this thing that we can do with use effects. So so inside here, what we are going to do is you can take our pusher client, so pusher client dot unbind, just like that, and we are going to basically unbind the message. So we basically unbind the messages.new, then the message handler, and then we unbind the messages update, and then the update message handler, right? So this is how it's going to look like if I use the autocomplete. So you can see that this is how it looks like. You can just look at it and make sure that you have done that appropriately, and let's make sure that we unsubscribe to as well. So you realize that above here we did subscribe, just like this. Let's make sure that we are unsubscribing to over here. So you see what pusher, so pusher client dot unsubscribe, just like this, and then we passing what the conversation ID, so conversation ID, just like this. All right, so once we have been able to unsubscribe just like this inside our body like this, what we can do is we can actually test this. So I'm going to quickly split this. I think I have this incognito right here. So this is another user. There's no need for me to re-log in because I have already logged in for this account. So I'll just refresh to make sure that everything is in check. Alright, then okay, so it's loading, so you can see that it's right here. So this is test user and this is nice user right here. So basically test user said what's up, and then I'll say, oh, nothing much, I am just chilling. What about you? Alright, then I'll just hit enter, and then once nice user hits enter and we wait a while, we should see that it would appear inside the chat right here. You can see that it just appeared right here, right? And you can see that it also appeared right here automatically, right? So that is basically it, and then you can see that it automatically set it to be what seen by test user, just like how we set it up over here inside our body.tsx and then our service, right? So right after we've been able to set that up, what we quickly want to do is we want to go into the conversation list, right? So we want to make sure that at the end of the day, once we send a new message here, it can automatically update over here, right? So we've already done the triggers inside the server. So what we are quickly going to do is I'll just go into the conversation list right here, and then here too we are going to have to set up a few more things. So I'll just scroll up just like that, right? So inside this scroll up that we just did right here, what we are going to do is I'll come and create a use memo. So I'll say const pusher key. I'm going to say what use memo right here. We import that, create our use memo just like this, and let me quickly close. So close it like this, and you set it up to be like just like this. So right after creating our use memo for our pusher key, what we are going to do is we're going to return, so we'll return what, session dot user dot email, just like this. So we might be asking that where are we going to be getting our session, and then for the session we are going to come and then say const session is going to be equal to what, use session, just like this. So use session just like this. Alright, just like that. So once we have this use session right here, we should be able to come and then see what, use session dot data dot user dot email, just like that. Alright, then we make sure that we pass in the same thing inside our dependency array, just like that. Alright, so now that we basically have this all set up just like how we want it to be, we need to come and then import our use effect right above right here. You can see we just imported the use effect. Then we can come and then write our use effect function right here. So inside, let's quickly close the use effect and bring in the empty dependency array, and quickly add the closing bracket, just like this. And then after doing that, we can now write what we need to write inside our use effect. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to check if there's pusher key, right? So we want to come and check. So I'll say if there is no pusher key, if there is no pusher key, then we want to return, then we want to come and return what, we want to quickly come and return nothing. All right, then but in case there is a pusher key, then what we are going to do is we are going to take the pusher client, and then we are going to subscribe to the pusher key right here. Now as you can see, we have not imported the pusher client right here. So what we are quickly going to do is just going to come and then import the pusher client from the app/libs/pusher. Let's make sure that it is that one. Yes, it is. And right after we have been able to set that up, let's quickly go back and then work on it. So over here, right over here, inside our use effect right here, what we want to quickly work on, we want to work on a handler, right? So we want to work on a new conversation handler. So I'll say what, const new handler, just like this. So new handler is going to be equal to, we are going to take what, conversation. I'm going to take conversation as a parameter, just like that, and then we set it to be what, full conversation type, just like that. Then we close this one up. Alright, so once we close it up, we want to open it up like this. Then we set items, right? We set items. Then what we are going to say is inside this items that we set, we want to take the previous conversation. So previous conversations like this. Then after, we want to quickly come inside and then we want to check what, right? We want to check for a few things. So we take find that we get from lodash like this. So then once we are able to do that, so let me close it up with the second bracket, just like that. All right, so once we take find like this, what we are quickly going to do is we're going to take previous conversations, no, this has to be conversations. So conversations, just like this, right? So we are going to take previous conversations, just like that, right? Conversations, just like that. And what we are going to do is we are going to have to map through these things, right? So let's yeah, if we were going to map through them, that is going to be our update handler. Okay, so now that we have our previous conversations right here, we want to create this object right here, take the id, and then we pass it to be what, the conversation.id, just like this. And then we want to come and then return, what, so we want to come and, oh, I don't want us to use the autocomplete because this place seems to be quite complicated. So we can just return our previous conversations in case we see any. right? Or in case we don't see any, we can just come and then return. So you can come and then return what? Conversation. So the conversation comes above, the fresh ones comes above, and then the previous ones just go below, just like that. So previous conversations, just like this. Alright, so now that we have been able to set up the new conversation handler right here, let us quickly set up the update handler. So we'll just say update handler, just like that. So update handler, then we, as you can see, we just set up the update handler just like this. Alright, then inside the update handler, we want to set items to be what? Previous conversation, just like this, right? So inside our previous conversations here, let me quickly open this up and then close it again. Let me just close it at the end here, right? Okay, I'll just close it at the end right here. So yeah, so inside this set items that we have here, what we are going to do is we're going to take our previous conversations right here, and then we'll map through these things. So these previous conversations, we just map through them, and then we take the current conversation out of it. So current conversation out of the previous conversations. Then once we take the current conversation, what we want to do is we want to quickly come and check for a few conditions, right? So we want to come and check. We say that if the current conversation.id is equal to the conversation that we are in .id, right, then what we want to do is we want to return the current conversation, right, and then inside the messages object that we have inside this item, so we want to set the conversation.messages right here, right? So and once we check and then it's not equal to it, we want to make sure that we just return what? The current conversation, just like this. Make sure that these ones are basically, make sure that these conversations, the spellings is correct, because if the spellings is not correct, you are going to be getting a bunch of errors. So let's make sure. So I want to understand why we have this red. Yeah, definitely going to have it. Remove it real quick. I'm coming. I don't know, this autocomplete thing is making my life difficult on this video. Let me quickly remove, I think this let me remove this, right, and I'll just copy it down just like this. So this one marks the if, and the other one marks, and then this one marks the full thing, and I'll just close it up just like that and remove this one as well. Just use the autocomplete too, and I'll just cut this, I cut this out and cut this one out too as well. And I think, yeah, we should basically be done with both handlers right here. So you can see this is basically the new handler that we have. This is the update handler so that we have right here. You can look at it very well and then make sure that you have done it just like how it is done, so you do not face any unnecessary errors. And then let's simply work on the remove handler, right? The remove handler is what is going to allow us to make sure that when we click on this delete right here, we can delete a conversation in real time. Okay, so yeah, so that is basically it. So let's quickly work on the remove handler. So we have remove handler, we take the remove handler and then we set it to be what? A parameter conversation, and set it to be the type of full conversation type right here. Then inside, what we are going to do is we want to set items to be what? Previous conversations. Then we take the previous conversation, so we take previous conversations just like this, right? So so previous conversations, we just return a filter, right? So let me not use this, this autocomplete is actually wrong. Let me not use this. I'll just remove that and remove that too as well. Take that 1 2 out, and let me quickly close this and just pass this inside. Okay, let me just close this one like this. So inside this set items that we have right here, what we quickly want to do is we want to come and then return dot previous conversations dot filter. So we want to filter the conversations and then make sure, so we want to filter and then we want to make sure that we are taking in, so conversation as C, and we want to check, so we want to match it to be what, C. So conversation to C dot ID, just like this. We want to check if it's not equal to conversation dot ID. So if it's not equal to conversation yeah, I'm trying to access the parameter. So conversation dot, what is happening? I'm coming. This autocomplete thing is making my life difficult. I will just let me quickly wrap this. Around a curly brace right here. Right, let me quickly wrap this around a curly brace right here. Okay, so yeah, so what we just did is we took the set items, we took our previous conversations parameter here, we created a function that does what, that returns previous conversations dot filter, and then what we are doing is we are filtering each conversation to make sure that it's not equal to the conversation dot ID, right? So once we are done filtering, right, once you are done filtering and then we are done deleting, what we want to do is we want to just push. So if you delete a chat, you want to make sure that you are navigating to where all the chats are, so that like you just get out of the deleted chats. Like it's a natural intuitive action to perform, right? So if the conversation ID is equal to the conversation.id, let's just make sure that we do what, our router.push, right? And let me clear this. I want us to work on these things separately so you understand what is going on. So it looks like we already have our router right here, so no need to re-import it again. Alright, so now that we have been able to work on the router.push for all the handlers that we have, let me just go back to it so that you make sure that all the handlers you have done them exactly how they have to be. You can pause them and make sure that they are correct before you move on. So the next thing is we want to now come and bind them on the client. So you take your pusher client just like this dot bind, right? So you take your pusher client just like the dot bind, so you bind it just like that, right? And then you bind it with what, conversation new, just like that, and new handler just like this. All right, then once you are done with binding it just like that, you want to come down and then you want to come and bind the conversation updates just like this with the update handler. You want to come down and also bind the conversation.remove with the remove handler just like this, and then just like how we did unsubscribe to the other ones, you want to come down and then unsubscribe just like that, so you can see inside this return that we have right here. Alright, so right after, let's make sure that we unsubscribe to the pusher key that we did subscribe to at the top there, so that we prevent any memory leakages. So I forgot, the autocomplete didn't do it well. So pusher client dot unbind, or unsubscribe actually, dot unsubscribe, then pusher key right here. Then let's make sure that we pass in the pusher key as our use effect dependency, right? So key just like that, right? Nice and clean. So right after we have been able to set this up, the next thing that we want to quickly do is we want to work on the active the active users. Right, so for the active users, I think we need a few packages, right? I think we did install Zastand, right? We're supposed to install it together with it. Okay, I don't think we did install Zastand, so let's quickly go into the terminal and then install Zastand just like this. So and then let's not forget our legacy peer deps, just like that. So while Zastand is installing, we can try to test our conversation right here. So you can see that it has updated, but let me say something like, oh, you know, I'm just here trying to check up on my friends. Then maybe I'll add some haha. Yeah, now send. So once I am able to send this, you see that it would appear right here. Okay, after some time. Okay, so you can see that the API calls are being made. Okay, just wait a bit. Just wait a bit, and it should be here in no time. Okay, it looks like it is taking way too long to send. I don't know why. Let us quickly refresh. Let us just refresh the chat. We are going to see the new updated chat though. Just refresh the chat. So yeah, this is the new chat though. But we can try to do it again. So we can just ask, what are you doing? What are you doing right now, by the way? So I just sent that. We should see it in real time. Okay, so you just saw it. So once the chat just got sent like this, you realize that we saw this new change as fast as possible in real time, just like that. So we know that this conversation list update is working like we expected to, right? So now we need to be able to work on the active users. I can see that you can already see that this user is active, right? Like you can already see, but that is in my code. I think I did test it before, so I don't know why it's still happening, but yeah, I guess it's still happening. And I think if I check the overview here, I think it is still calculating for me. I don't know. I don't know why it's working still without the real code, but yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So now that we have that right here, yeah, let us quickly work on the active user. And yeah, we also worked on deleting a conversation, right? So if we want to delete this conversation, we can just come and click on the delete, and you just click delete like this. Wait a bit, and the conversation should just delete and navigate us to conversations. Okay, so it is working, and then as you can see, it just navigated us to conversations, nice and clean. This is awesome. We are working and we are moving on. So now that we have been able to work on deleting conversations in real time, let us work on the active users. So we just installed Zastand, and so the first thing that we are going to quickly do is we want to go into our app. So we want to go into let me quickly collapse everything. and go into the app folder here. We'll go into hooks, and then we'll create a new hook called use active list, just like this .ts. all right, then inside it, what we want to do is we want to basically come and create an interface. So we'll say interface active list store. So active list store is going to be what? They are going to have members. No, it doesn't have to be. Yeah, so we're going to have members, then members is going to be string of array, right? Then inside here we are going to add, then inside this add we are going to take in what? An id parameter of string, and then void, just like that. Then we add the remove with the id parameter of string, and then void, and then we add the set with the id's parameter of string array, and then also void, right, or an array of strings to with the void function over there. Then we'll come and say what? Const use active list, just like that, to create the active list store. Now where are we getting the create from? We are going to get the create from where? From Zastand, right? Okay, I don't know why it's not showing here, but we have to get the create from Zastand. So we just import create from Zastand, just like that. All right, so right after setting this up, what we are quickly going to do is inside here we are going to pass in what? Members as an array. Then we'll come down, and then we'll do the add. Then for the add, what we are going to do is we're going to take in the id, right, as a parameter like this, and then inside we are going to set state, just like that. So set a state set a state just like this, and inside we would basically open this bracket and then see what? Members, and so say state dot members comma id, just like that, right? And inside we are going to add what? Remove. So remove, just like that, and then this remove is going to be taking the id parameter, just like that. Okay, then we are going to set, then we take the state inside, just like this. All right, take the state inside, just like this, and all we need to do is basically bring in this members, just like that. Then state dot members, just like this, dot filter, then what? Member id, just like that. Member id, just like that. And we have what? Member id is not what? id, just like this. So if let me quickly minimize or bring this together so you can see this is how it looks like right here. Then we will set what? We quickly set the IDs to be what? Members IDs, just like that. And then let's come in and export default use active list, just like this. So you can take your time and then go through this and make sure that it is the same thing as what is here, so that you do not face any future unnecessary errors, just like that. All right, so now that we have been able to work on that, what we want to do is we want to, inside this hooks that we have here, what we want to do is the next thing is we want to come inside the same hooks that we have, and then we want to create another hook called use active channel, just like this. So use active channel .ts, so I'll just take that .ts, just like this. Use active channel .ts, and then inside we are going to say const use active channel, just like that. Then inside we take what? The const set add remove and members from the use active list. Let's make sure that we are importing that just like that. So you can see we just imported it. Then after we've been able to import it, the next thing we'll do is to now come and then create a use state. We'll say what active channel. So active channel, set active channel, and then we set it to be what channel. So we set it to be channel, right? And then this channel is going to be coming from pusher.js just like this, and then we import our use state just like this, right? Nice and clean. So now that we have these bad boys working just like they should, the next thing we are going to quickly do is we want to create this use effect right here. Now this use effect that we have created right here, let us quickly import it. So I want to import the use effect just like this. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to say what let channel, so I want to say let channel be equal to what the active channel just like this. Then we want to make sure that we bind the channel. So we say what channel, so we say channel dot bind is going to be what, so channel dot bind is going to be what, you can take this off, doesn't matter, like that. So channel dot bind, then we make sure we pass in what pusher, so pusher, then we say what subscription, then what succeeded just like that. Then inside here what we are going to do is let me quickly remove this line right here, just remove this line right here, and then inside the second argument you are going to take members, right? And then the members is going to be the type member, and then this type member with the array annotation attached to it is going to be coming from pusher.js just like that. Then inside we are going to say what const, inside we are going to say const initial members is going to be the type of what string array just like that. Then we are going to set it to be an empty array. Then we quickly come here and say what members dot each member is going to be record and a string just like this, comma any, and then we are going to be taking in the initial members and then we'll push them in just like this. So member.id just like that, nice and clean. Alright, then once we are done, we can now come outside here and then set initial members just like this. So set initial members just like this, then we just close it up just like that, nice and clean. Let me check what is going on. This is a little coming. So members dot each, so I think for each, all right, then okay, so all right, so now that we have been able to set this up, what we quickly want to do is let's quickly come down below right here, and then we'll say channel, so channel dot bind like this, and then inside we want to basically come and see what pusher, so we say what pusher, so pusher what members, so pusher members added, so pusher members added just like this, and then so pusher members added just like this. Then the second argument is going to be member, and then the record string comma any just like this, and then we add member.id just like this. So you can see that we are using the use active list inside right here just like that. Alright, so once we have been able to work on that, we want to quickly come down, and then we can just quickly copy this, paste it right here. We can just paste it right here, change it to remove, come on, So we can just change it to remove just like this. We'll come and change this to member remove just like that. Why do you keep bringing this? Member remove just like that. Right, so this is how it should look like. All right, when I did test it on my own, I didn't bring the question mark, but I don't know why, like I'm told to bring in the question mark. Like I'm just a little confused right now, but I guess we don't, yeah. But yeah, I forgot. We need to do one change over here. So we want to check. So we want to check if there is no channel. Okay. So if there is no channel, we want to take the pusher.client and then we want to subscribe to the presence dash messenger right here. Then we want to set active channel to be what channel right here like this. And then I think we should be able to take off all the question marks right here just like this. Yeah, I just remembered. So right after we've been able to set this up, right, what we want to do is we want to quickly come and then return. So you remember the cleanup that we did, or the cleanup that we always do inside our project. So inside I'll just say what if active channel, right, then I'll just clean it up just like this, and I'll say what pusher client dot unsubscribe. So pusher client, so I'll say pusher client dot unsubscribe, and then I'll say what presence, so presence messenger just like this. Then we set the active channel to be null just like that. Then inside here, then inside here what we want to do is we want to pass in, so we want to pass in what the active channel just like that. Then set, add, and then remove just like this. Alright, so now that we have been able to set this up, let me quickly remove the terminal so you can see that this is how we've been able to set it up right here. Then let's make sure that we do what we do, our export default use active channel just like this. Right, you can just go through, make sure that it is exactly how it has to be before we move on. So right after you have been able to check up on that, the next thing you want to do is you want to find a way to use this active channel, right? So what we are going to do is I can just quickly collapse this. I'll open it up, go to apps, go to components. Then inside the components I can create a new file called active status. So active status just like this .tsx, right? So active status .tsx just like that. Then inside the active status, what we want to do is we can import what use active status. So you use active channel, take it from the hooks and then the active channel. Then what you are going to do is you say const active status, you open up this function and then you just initialize or use active channel here, and then you return null, and then you make sure that you do your export default active status right here, and then we can move on. All right, so right after you are done setting this up, what you want to quickly do is you can simply just go into your layout.tsx that is going to be found inside the app. So this app right here, let me quickly collapse everything so that we find it easy to get it. So this is the app right here, and then this is the layout.tsx. Then inside, in between this toolstack context here, what you can do is you can just import your active status just like this. Make sure you import it just like that, nice and clean. So once you have been able to import it just like that, we can quickly go into the avatar and then set it up. So it says you are importing a component that needs use effect. Okay, yeah, so let's make sure that this is a use client component just like that. All right, nice and clean. So right after we've been able to work on that, like I said, we want to make sure that the green, so let's go into avatar. So this is avatar.tsx, and then you can see that by default we already have the green marker over here showing that someone is online even when the person isn't, right? So we want to quickly fix that. Now how we are going to quickly fix this is, first of all, we are just going to come here and then do our const members. So we take the members from the use active list, just like this. Alright, so members is going to be coming from the use active list, and then we now come and check for the active members like this. So we say what const is active, then we take the members dot index of user email, then we make sure we bring this exclamation mark, and then we check. So if it's not equal to what -1, then if we should then that should be that is active boolean that we're checking for, or condition that we are checking for, right? Then right after that we can just come here and then wrap this. Okay, let me just do it here. So I'll just come and see what is active. Oh, I want the autocomplete to make it fast. So it's active is right here. Then all we need to do is you can just wrap it around this span right here. So you have is active, you put it here, make sure that the span is inside the is active right here. So you can see that soluservant is not active, so it's not showing that soluservant is active. I want us to see, right? So this is it right here. Yeah, so yeah, that's basically it. We are going to be seeing a much better use case. I was expecting us to see our green status here, but I'm pretty sure we are going to see it pretty soon. So let's just keep working, right? So now that we have been able to set it up for the avatar, what we want to do is we want to go into the header of our conversation and basically find it there. So let me quickly go to the people here, the people page right here, or the users page right here, and I want to start a conversation with another user. Right, it looks like the conversation, the connection is a little slow for some weird reason. I'm going to switch to another network right now. Okay, so I just switched to another network. Let's wait a bit so it just connects nice and clean. Okay, yeah, it's off right now. I'll just connect to a different Wi-Fi. Okay. Oh, yeah, for some reason my network isn't turning back on my cell phone. I don't know. Yeah, I'll just connect to this one instead. Just disconnect. Okay. Okay, I don't think I can connect to this one because I remember he turned off the power button. Okay, yeah, my network isn't showing still, but let's try to, okay, just refresh, or let me come here and then refresh and see if it will work. Okay, let's refresh right here. Okay, so it looks like the page is loading like we needed to load. Okay, yeah, it is loading. So yeah, and we are in the users page right here. So I'm just quickly going to click on nice user like this. We'll create a new conversation with nice user like this, and I'll just like send a message so that you see the changes that we are about to make, right? So now that it is loading, let us just go on to the next thing. So like I said, we want to be able to show whether a user is active or not, right? So over here it's automatically set to active and you can't blame us. So what we are going to do is, let me quickly go into the header.tsx right here, right? So header.tsx. Then what we are going to do is, inside here, right, we are going to basically just copy and paste. So we can just go into avatar, avatar here, and then we can just copy and paste. So copy and then come and paste it right here, right? And then we just make sure that we change like a few things. So the first thing is we make sure we import our use active list right here. Let's make sure that use active list is the right one that we imported. Yeah, it is the right one that we imported. Okay, so this is the use active list right here, nice and clean, right? Let's make sure so that's it. So the use active list, we took it from what, the hooks slash use active list right here, nice and clean, right? And then we made sure that once we were checking, when we got to the point where we were checking for is active, we didn't use the users just like how we did inside the avatar, but this time we used what, the other user right here, like this, right? So right after we are done with that, all we need to do is come here and then we are just going to have to write a condition that checks, right? So we are going to say return is active. So when is active is set to true, set the conversation to be what, active, and then when is active is set to false, now you set it to what, offline, and then make sure that the use memo is also set to is active, just like this. All right, so right after we are done with that simple change, let's quickly go into, so I think we already copied that, right? So we'll go into the profile drawer like this, and we want to quickly come and then basically do the same thing right here. So above, so we just go right here and then we would paste right here. We make sure that we import let's change this to other user as we know, and we just come and import our use active list here to as well, like that. All right, then let's not forget to set up our is active condition that we did set up right here, and then let's not forget to pass is active inside the dependency array right here. All right, so now that we are done with that, that should basically do it for our real-time project right here. Yes, and I don't know, me too, for some weird reason I wasn't seeing the the changes, weird enough. Okay, it says invalid on unexpected token. That is weird. Let us check our overview and make sure that we have not hit our limit, right? So yeah, oh yeah, we are about to hit our limit. Okay, so let's make sure that everyone is online. Okay, nah. All right, I'll just refresh this one too as well. Yeah, I guess I need to go to, yeah, so as you can see, it says nice user started a new conversation like this. a test user started a new conversation like this, and it says they are both offline. And yeah, I did have that issue too as well. I did have that issue, like um I did set up everything like how we did set it, we did set everything up, but I don't know, at the end of the day I was like, I just kept running into issues after issues. Yeah. And I what I remember doing is I came to change this other user. So I actually came to do this change right here, this change. Where is it? Yeah. Yeah, I came to do this change right here. I think before I did it ID, right? That was how I did it. Before I did it ID, and you know, I realized I wasn't seeing like any change whenever I did it ID, right? So I just came and then I did it the email, because that was how I set it up, right? And yeah, it pretty much worked, but I do not know why it's not working again right now. It could be from our pusher, but yeah, I feel like it should work. If it doesn't work, you can like try to figure it out and try to make it work, and you can send me an email on how you did it and everything, and we can just share together with each other and everything. So yeah, that was the change that I did for mine when I wasn't seeing the online and offline status. But apart from that, everything else worked like we needed to work, right? Like, so you can see that these are two conversations that we have in here, right? If I say uh if I come back and I say something like, hey man, so I just sent hey man like as a message, and you should see it appear concurrently right here. So you can see it just appeared here, hey man. But yeah, for some weird reason, I don't know why it's not showing here. Yeah, it usually happens to when you're hitting your limit. So yeah, I guess it's a thing. Then I'll say hey, so it should show up right here. So you can see that it's showing up hey. Then I'll be like what's up, say what's up, and we can, so what's up, then it will go through just like this, what's up. You can see that it's showing here. Then all I have to do is I can send an image, so I can just come and select an image just like that. Okay, so just like that. And maybe I can just select this random image. Maybe I'm trying to tell him that I'm reading a book or something. So just select that image like this. I think it's uploading, so once it's done, it should just send it to test user right here. So okay, so you can see that it's uploading like this. All right, done. Or I don't think it uploaded, because I think it is sent as a warning. Let me find like a smaller sized image like this one. Okay, so send that. It would send in no time. Okay, so maybe I'm trying to tell him I was, so you can see that the image is appearing here in real time, right? You can see nice and clean. I was trying to run an ad for my startup. Then I'll be like, oh, I see. Yeah, so I mean, you can see how fun it is to actually text using your own messenger clone or your own social media like this, nice and clean. You can see how everything is working concurrently, nice and clean. We can also text inside the DD body like we want to. Hello, hey. You can see that we can just send a message just like that into the DD party, and then other people can also see it inside the DD party like that, right? Nice and clean. So I don't know, let me quickly pause the video and see if I can figure out a solution to this offline status, and then we'll come back and see if we can fix it. If we can, I'll just let you know, and anyone that is able to find their smooth way through without having to face these issues, the person can just hit me up and like just send me an email, then we should be able to share it with each other in a post, right? So that we can just complete the project and then share it with our potential employers and our friends and everything. And you can even turn it into your own startup, right? So yeah, let me just pause it and see. Okay, so I did go back into the code, and what we have to do is you have to go to the use active channel right here, and you remember here, yeah, I knew that this is each, but I don't know, we were getting this weird error that was coming with it, right? So I don't know, it just felt a little different. Like, why are we getting this? This is a little weird. But yeah, that was basically the issue that we were facing. And when we go into the application to check, let's quickly go back. Go to nice user right here. Okay, we are still getting offline. I'm coming, give me a second. Alright, so I basically just realized that all I needed to do is so we did make a change here, right? I said we should set this to each instead of for each, like how we did. And I remember, I think this part I had made a mistake and I had given some space here, so just make sure you close that space. And maybe you're trying to get rid of the TypeScript error here. I think we can just do this any, so as or any right here, and I think the each should leave. Sorry, the TypeScript error on the each should leave, and yeah, all you have to do is to close your terminal by doing your Control-C to close it, and then you can just restart you can just rerun the npm run dev, and then you can just refresh for your pages /API/pusher/auth to work, just like how we did it inside pusher.cs right here, right? Yeah, so so basically all I'm saying is once you're done with those changes, you just have to restart your terminal, and then you should be able to see all the active users right here. So if I close, I think this is yeah, so let me just close it like this. If I close it, we should see, you can see that the user is offline now, you see. So yeah, it works in real time just like how I said it would.